What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I am your host, the big man on campus. We are here live on a Friday, June 18th, 2021. Another big day of hoops coming at you here in just a second. Game in the East, game in the West. Closeout opportunities for two teams. We'll see if they can't do it today. And if they can't, we'll look forward to the next ones as well. As always, we are powered by Pickswise and presented by FanDuel. And again, we're here every day breaking down the NBA. 12 Eastern, breaking it down. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button if you enjoy the show. Ian Cameron is our guest on Fridays. Ian, good to see you. How you doing?
Good. It's nice to see Philadelphia hasn't burned to the ground yet after the last couple of days. How are you?
Well, wait till tonight. Well, you know what? I'll be honest. I don't think it will, because this fan base will make more excuses for them on why they didn't win. So if they win or don't win, we'll see. We'll get to it in just a second. How's everything been going with you? How have you been doing in the NBA? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I find it's been a tough round, tricky round. It's been up and down. Player props is something I've focused on a little bit more because it's just very, very difficult from a side and totals perspective. Look at the other night, for example, with what happened to Philadelphia. And thank goodness, two of the three bets I had on the Sixers were first quarter and first half.
Mm-hmm.
I also had a little bit of the full game. But boy, and there's a reason why you do that, especially with a team like Philadelphia. We saw evidence what they did in game 4 with a big lead. They found a way to let it slip away. And to see it happen again, though, Jeff, in a game 5 at home when you have Joel Embiid basically just kicking the snot out of Clint Capella down low in the first quarter the way he did, and just to see the way that game started, to think that they could finish it the way they did, it is absolutely mind-boggling. And look, Doc Rivers is going to be in the crosshairs right here, and rightfully so. You can blame Ben Simmons. You can blame Tobias Harris, who was pathetic, I thought, in the last game. You can blame all the players you want. Even Embiid down the stretch struggled, but I don't blame him as much because he went nuts in the first half. Could he have been better in the fourth? For sure. In his fourth quarter, the last 2 games hasn't been good from the field. But Doc Rivers has to take a look in the mirror, okay? Because his Clippers team last year pissed away leads against the Denver Nuggets. They had big leads in 3 games in that series, lost them. And here we go again. 2 big leads in this series. Last 2 games against Atlanta, lost both of them. What the hell's going on here? This coach has now had teams 2 years in a row, double-digit leads in the playoffs, 5 of them, and he's blown them all and lost them all. It's shocking, but Doc deserves some flack here as well.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, his rotations haven't been good. He continues to throw 10 or 11 guys out there. It's just not good. Last night we saw, and we'll get to that game here in just a second. Last night, I'll tell you what, this series continues to set the NBA back. This series is hard to watch. I was on the wrong side. I took a shot with the over here. I thought maybe these teams would finally get going offensively, but I mean, this Nets team, I guess they just, I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know. I've lost more money on this series than every single series in the NBA so far combined. I mean, it's amazing. I don't think I've been on the right side of any game in this series. I've been on the total, the right side there. It's just a weird series. I'm done. I'm not even going to bet Game 7. I'm over it. I don't know what to do with it. I'm completely lost. If this is what the Eastern Conference has to offer, Atlanta might win the Eastern Conference. I mean, seriously. I mean, if Atlanta beats the Sixers tonight, I think they have a chance. I mean,
why
sure
not?
They have a chance.
There's flaws with every team left in these playoffs. There really is. Even Phoenix, who I really like.
This game is ugly, man.
No, this game was ugly, and I know people are patting Milwaukee on the back. Way to go, Milwaukee! Really responded from that brutal loss, and they won at home. Can we actually see them go on the road in Game 7 in Brooklyn and win before we give them too much credit? I mean, they have been good at home this year in the playoffs. They've been pretty good at home in past years in the playoffs. They were great at home in the regular season. And for some reason, Chris Middleton, if he could bring the way he plays at Fiserv Forum on the road, this is going to make this Milwaukee team a lot better. But look, at 38 points from him last night, he was terrific. Giannis had a strong game. Drew Holiday was excellent in that game. Milwaukee did what they had to do, and they did respond. I mean, I was kind of worried the way that game ended. Game 5, where you see here we go again, another team that had a huge lead at halftime, and they end up blowing the game. Everybody remembers the image of James Harden defending Giannis, and then James Harden waving off help in that game, which was pretty much an indictment of Giannis at that point. And he settles for a step back jump shot, which is the worst part of it all, rather than using that size. And that's been the problem for Milwaukee. I find when Milwaukee has lost games in this series, they've settled for jump shots. They've not been aggressive. They've not been looking to draw fouls. And yeah, I know Giannis, you can put him in that same category as Ben Simmons, where do you really want to get fouled because you're such a lousy free throw shooter? But nevertheless, that's where your advantage is. You've got to take it to the rim. You got to stop settling for jumpers at this point if you're Giannis. And that he had more of an aggressive mindset last night. Give him credit for that. But that's what he's got to do on the road. And he didn't do that in Game 5. He was better at it last night. You got to do it in Game 7 now. People are sick and tired of you coming up short in these big spots here with the backs against the wall. So it's up to Milwaukee to find a way on the road. And this has been a series where the home team has won every game. It's been a homer series. And if you want to take a shot believing Milwaukee's changed things and bet them in a Game 7 on the road, good on you. I don't know if I'll be able to join you on that one.
Yeah, I'm out on this series. Done with them. Interesting news before we get into the games tonight. Big trade today in the NBA. The Boston Celtics have agreed to send all-star point guard Kemba Walker, the 16th pick in this draft, and a 2025 second-round pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a 2023 second-round pick. There's two things that went on here. Obviously, this for the Boston Celtics is to free up some flexibility with their finances. They, I think, owed Kemba Walker like $70 million over the next 2 years. And look, Kemba Walker's not going to stay in Oklahoma City. They're going to leverage him out and get him somewhere else. But, I mean, Boston's clearly kind of trying to retool some things of what they're doing. They obviously weren't happy with what they got out of Kemba Walker. Oklahoma City continues to get assets. Weirdly enough, they don't seem to ever make them work, though. Quick thoughts on this? I think it's kind of what you see from teams like Boston. They're trying to free up salary and to go other ways. And I don't think it's not like he's going to play long term at Oklahoma City. Al Horford, how about that? Back to the Boston Celtics. The only team that I think he actually cared about playing for. It doesn't seem like he cared about playing anywhere else. So he gets his happiness and can go back to where he feels comfortable.
Yeah, I think they're planning something bigger, to be honest with you. I can't see them pulling the trigger on this trade and not leading to something else, in the next few weeks, the next few months. That's the thing. And look, I think Kemba Walker, I don't want to say wore out his welcome because it's just this has been a last tough couple of years for him in Boston. Never-ending injuries. Remember, there was a time his shot had completely evaporated from him. So I think it's at the point now where, you've gone as far as you can go. I think with this relationship with Kemba and the Celtics, I think it's time for basically both teams to look both sides to look the other way. Boston trying to move on, trying to retool. They do have to retool this roster. I think that's clear. When you have the disappointing season the Celtics had, there are some changes that have to be made. Like I said, Kemba Walker, the last 2 years in Boston, been a struggle on the court with his performance. He's had trouble staying healthy, staying on the floor. Injuries have been an issue. So for him, I think it's good for Kemba at this stage in his career, I think, to get a change of scenery, fresh surroundings, a new start, clean slate, that whole bit. And I think for Boston, this is probably not the first move they're going to make this summer. There's probably more on tap.
Yep. Draft coming up as well. It's nice to have the season a little bit later this year because we don't have that kind of barren wasteland of only MLB during July. So that'll be nice. Then you get the combines and then you get the draft. So very exciting times here in the NBA. As always, about to break down the NBA card for today. One other note, Rick Carlisle has resigned as the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Continues to be a tumultuous week for the Dallas Mavericks. There was some question marks about the decision-making. Again, yesterday it was informed that he wouldn't be returning. Always been a good coach in the NBA, 13 years. Did some great things. Really, I think it was like the third longest tenured coach in the NBA. There's some questions, I guess, between him as far as some concerns with him and Luka Doncic. I think we're starting to see, and Spread Astaire mentioned it the other day, I think yesterday, that the NBA continues to lean towards going younger. I would love to see Rick Carlisle in Philadelphia. Fire Doc Rivers right now. Get him here for tonight's game.
Yeah.
I would
Don't
love to see
wait
that.
around.
Yeah, but Rick Carlisle getting deciding to move on. We'll see where he goes next. You think he'll definitely go somewhere else? This had to be just an issue with them. I don't think it was that he wants to just retire.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where I think he's going to want to get back into coaching again. I don't think he's completely done. From what I've heard, there's been some rift behind the scenes with Luka and him down the stretch in Dallas. Apparently, offensive philosophy differences. Let's not forget when Dallas had that incredible offensive season last year, Steven Silas was the brainchild of that. He was an assistant under Carlisle. Then, of course, he went to Houston. And you're right, that Dallas team offensively was never quite the same this year. Of course, losing Seth Curry in the offseason, who's been thank goodness they've gotten what they've gotten out of Seth Curry in this series if you're the Philadelphia 76ers. But that was also a very big loss in the offseason for Dallas. And Silas, of course, moves on to get the coaching job. And you're right, Luka just never seemed like he got in a groove this year. And look, Rick's more of a defensive guy to begin with. And I think there's just a little bit of a clash in the way we're going to do things here in Dallas a little bit. I've read some things that maybe Luka's angling to get the current assistant coach of the Mavericks to take over as the head coach. So I think it's just a situation where after all these years, Rick's looking for a different challenge, maybe a new opportunity. And like I said, maybe there's just a little butting of the heads, a little bit of a difference of opinion with Luka Doncic, who, let's be honest, if it comes to a choice for Mark Cuban, who am I keeping, Rick Carlisle or Luka Doncic? Come on, who you're choosing at this point. Although I'm sure it's tough to part ways with Rick. I mean, Mark Cuban and Rick Carlisle have been together, running the ship here for Dallas as owner and head coach for a very long time. I mean, that entire Dirk Nowitzki era, including the championship they won when Dirk was there, who was the head coach? Rick Carlisle. I mean, that's how long he's been there. I think Spoelstra and Pop are the only two guys that have been tenured as long with their current team as a head coach as than Rick Carlisle had been with Dallas. So, yeah, it is a surprising move. But when you start to read some things, Jeff, about how, Luka's kind of looking for a different voice, and he's trying to get the assistant coach to have more of a say with the team. You could kind of read the tea leaves and see that there was probably going to be a change coming.
Rick Carlisle, watch out, Boston. That might be a landing spot for him.
I hear in Milwaukee, if they get knocked out, that Milwaukee could fire Budenholzer and pursue Carlisle.
I think they're going to fire Budenholzer. It's just a question of who they're going to bring in next. Could be a lot of open jobs here coming up in the next couple of weeks. All right, let's get into today's action. 7:40 Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers at Atlanta Hawks. Sixers laying a 3, over under 221.5. Sixers on the ropes. They've been knocked down. The question is, can the Atlanta Hawks deliver the final knockout punch tonight? Let's look back to Game 5 quickly. And this is why I truly believe the Sixers, it's over tonight. I just don't think right now they're very good. I don't. I think when all that stuff happened with Joel Embiid and his meniscus, could we say Joel played well? Of course he did. But there's something that makes me tentatively believe that he's not completely okay. And it's clear. I've seen that he's kind of limped off in a couple situations. He seems a little timid, frankly. But he's not the problem. Joel Embiid's going to give you 35 plus. The problem is Joel Embiid can do that, but this team gets nothing from anyone else. Can you really expect Seth Curry to do what he did the other night? Matisse Thybulle's not an offensive option. Furkan Korkmaz doesn't give you much. Danny Green didn't give you anything. He's not even playing. Ben Simmons is a complete net negative offensively. To trust and think that Ben Simmons is going to win this game for you tonight is a farce. It's not going to happen. He's not capable of doing it. He's not just going to immediately make free throws tonight. Tobias Harris. Where the hell is this guy went? One of the worst contracts in the history of this city. I mean, let's look back, Ian, to some games that in this series this team did win. And what happened? They needed like Shake Milton out of nowhere to give them 14 points. There's just not a lot of good players on this team. It's just that simple. They just don't have that many options. And the problem is Atlanta is everything they think they can be. and what they want it to be. Atlanta's done it quickly, though. Atlanta has the best player on the floor at this point in Trae Young. They have a guy that seemingly, is getting beaten up on the block, and he is in Capella, but, it really doesn't matter that much. I think the Hawks are basically saying, look, Embiid's going to do what he does. He's going to do what he does. He's going to do what he does. But as long as the other guys don't beat us badly 3 or 4 different times, we're good. Collins has been awesome in this series. Bogdanovich has played well, though he didn't play well in Game 5. They're playing more minutes to Lou Williams and Gallinari, and those guys have figured it out. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. The Sixers are broken, man. If you look at their body language, man. Look, Ian, did you see their body language the other night? Did you see
Yes.
Ben Simmons after the game? Did you see Joel Embiid talking crap to the crowd? I mean, this team is feeling it, man. They are. It's not like the city did a good job of it either over the last day. I mean, they've given it to them too. Look, at the end of the day, Ben Simmons is to blame here. Okay, he hasn't improved. He hasn't gotten any better, and he's the issue here. It's that simple. Him and Doc Rivers and other things. There's a lot of pressure here. Now you got to go on the road. That's going to be a tough atmosphere down there. And look, let's go back one more point here to Game 5. I mean, outside of Trae Young, I don't think Atlanta played overly well either. The Sixers just blew the game. If you can get a better Atlanta team to play tonight and play their norm, I think they win this game. I think the fact that they're a dog is helpful here. I think people are just going to assume the Sixers are going to bounce back. They seem to be a beaten group right now. I think they bow out and lose here. I really do.
Yeah, there's a small thought of me that still thinks Philly could be a little bit better, and I was looking to see a good response from them tonight, and then I see the number where it is with Philadelphia -3, and I'm like, there's just no way I'm in a rush to lay 3 on the road with this team. It's a really, really tough game, this one. This is a game where I'm going to look in game, more than anything from a betting perspective. And I hate, like I say, I'm going to have to do another NBA show later today. I'm going to have to say the same thing because, people want picks, people want pregame opinions and all that. I don't really have much in this game. This is a tough one. Both of them are, although I do have a stronger opinion in the Utah game coming up. This one, look, Philadelphia that's an inexplicable, inexcusable, unforgivable loss the other night on your home floor when you got what you got from Embiid in the first half, when you had the 20-plus point lead at halftime. You've got questions, and now we're going to have to see what the head coach, Doc Rivers, is made of. He's got to come to a decision in the fourth quarter. If it's close again tonight, do I leave Ben Simmons on the floor or do I take him out? You really have to start investigating that now. Not having him on the floor at crunch time. I'm serious. I don't give a squat anymore about what money he's making, what you think of him, what you think of his impact on the team. He's hurting you at crunch time. Okay, he can't make a free throw. Forget about a mid-range or a three-point shot. He's not giving you that. His only way of scoring is just basically a layup to the rim. That's about it, or a dunk. That's basically the only offense he gives you right now. It's not making a free throw. It's not making a mid-range shot. It's not making a three-pointer. Now, to his credit, he is still a very good defender, an excellent defender, actually. We'll give him that. But you got to have guys that can put it in the basket for you at crunch time, like they needed down the stretch against Atlanta in Game 5 when they lost the lead. And their offense was every bit as broken down the stretch. Defense, I can't even explain how bad that was from Philly in the second half. But the offense, they needed points, and there's Simmons out there giving you nothing. Next to nothing. He's scared to shoot the ball. And Tobias Harris, and that's the key in this series, Jeff, was the Atlanta perimeter going to win out? Was the Philly front court going to win out? What we saw in the first half was great for Embiid, but he didn't do much in the fourth quarter. You got nothing from Simmons. That was the ghost of Tobias Harris playing in that game, because I certainly didn't see him on the basketball court. Invisible. Couldn't find him with a telescope. Tobias Harris the last game. So you basically, and on the Atlanta side in the last game, Jeff, what did you get from the perimeter? Young was good. Bogdanovich struggled a bit, but he's had a good series. Gallinari stepped up. Collins was good. You're getting the Atlanta perimeter and Lou Williams, haunting his old team. You got all of a sudden the Atlanta perimeter not only outplaying the Philly front court, strength versus strength, but you've got them badly outplaying the Philly front court in the second half of that game the other night, especially in the fourth quarter. You got to think the Atlanta perimeter is going to feel more comfortable back home. Most perimeter shooters do feel that way. In their home surroundings, on their home floor, they shoot better. They feel more comfortable. It's going to be up to Joel Embiid to show up for 4 quarters tonight. And he's the guy I blame the least for the loss the other night. But still, his fourth quarter wasn't good. You need more from him. And he can't miss 2 free throws like he did down the stretch.
This team is the most mentally weak team they've
mental
ever had.
midgets. I said that yesterday. Yeah, and, mental midgets. Yep.
Yeah, and they have had some weak team. I mean, and look, all due respect with them and the fan base, I'm sick of hearing about how great they are defensively. I'm sick of hearing it. How far has that gotten them? Let me ask you. Because let me ask you, when it comes down to it, they don't have anybody to score the basketball in the late guts of the game. I mean, I'm sick of hearing about them, how good they are defensively. And then the other night, give us 69 points in the second half. How great they look. Earth to them. Defense doesn't win. It's partly the reason you win, and you have to be good defensively. But I'm sick of hearing about how great they are defensively and how good Ben Simmons is defensively. Even though Trae Young had almost 40 points the other night. Look, they're weak. They're soft. They're missing in action. And look, I see like people that write for this team and like they're putting out their keys to the game tonight. One of the keys to the game from one of these guys is the bench has to play well. The bench has to play well. This is one of the worst benches in the league. I mean, what do you mean the bench has to play well? All you have to do when Ben Simmons is on the court is pack it in and don't let him get into the lane. It's pretty simple. Literally allow him to shoot the ball and then guard everybody else. I mean, this is what kills you. And this is something that continues to happen year after year. And then at the end of the season, everyone's seemingly so surprised that they can't get it done late. They don't have an offensive option because of Ben Simmons. He affects the whole team. I don't know why this is so hard to understand.
I heard a radio spot last night. I think it was on Sports Grid, and it was Marcus Hayes, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and he pretty much eviscerated, excoriated, and just crushed Ben Simmons.
He's very, he's very. If you know anything about him, he's very particular to Ben Simmons. He doesn't. He always excoriates him.
Yeah, and he was relentless talking about how bad it was for Ben Simmons the other night. I mean, just it is bad. You know, it's not nice. It's not time to treat these guys like little kids and pump them up mentally and say, it's going to be okay. Keep trying. Just give it your best. Everything's going to be fine. No, this is professional sports. This is winning a championship. This is about a team that people have believed has had the talent for years now to go all the way and win a championship. And their mentality is so weak and so fragile, they just seemingly can't find a way to do it. They've got 2 games here, game 6 and a potential game 7, to rewrite this narrative that this is a weak team, that they can't get it done, that they spit the bit. They've got 2 games to change it. I don't know if they're going to change it. I don't have confidence they're going to change it. But if they want people to stop talking smack about them, it's on you guys. Get it done. Get it done. It's not a participation medal. You don't get a participation ribbon. You participated in the NBA playoffs, not with the group that is expected to do what you were expected to do coming into this season. It's about results. It's about winning. Get it done. It's simple as that. If you don't get it done, you're going to hear about it. And if you don't like it, too bad.
And that's the situation they find themselves in.
Yeah.
From a standpoint of, do you trust this team? I don't know how you could actually take your money tonight and say, I trust them on the road in a closeout game for them to go home, that they're going to get off the mat and figure it out. They're the weakest team in the league. They always do this. Again, and they may win and they may cover and salute, but I'm not putting my money on it at all.
If you like Philly, take them early. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What have we seen the last 2 games? We've seen Philly strong in the first quarter and the first half, and then they melt down in the second half. I could see that happening again. They have had good starts. Joel Embiid is fresher early in the game. He's got a little more pep in his step. You know, I think this meniscus is bothering him more than we think, and you've seen it. He's looked, I think he's looked a little bit worn down in the third and the fourth quarter. That's been part of his struggles later in the game as well. Once you start playing on that bad knee, you know, the longer the game goes, the more you feel it. So for me, if you like Philly, you don't dare touch them full game. You have to look early, and then probably if they get off to a good start again, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you, if they have a third straight game where they get off to a nice start, you know what you got to do at that point. You got to look at Atlanta in game. That's my strategy, at least.
if this team loses tonight or Game 7, and next year Ben Simmons is still on this team, I will not say one. I will give up my, and I don't do that because I've rooted for this team since I was out of the womb, basically. I was there during the Iverson years. I put up with the process and all that nonsense. I'm done. If he is back next year, I'm done. And I've had it with this guy. I've had it with him. I'm done with it. I'm done with this team. I'm done with this organization. I'm done with the bill of goods. And it's the fact also, again, and then I'll move on, of the continued, always choosing the wrong situations. Choosing Brett Brown and Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Where would they be if they had Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid? I'd imagine they wouldn't be struggling as much. It's the arrogance of saying we're not going to give up one or two guys for James Harden. I mean, it's the arrogance of not making Kyle Lowry. It's all of it. And what's happened? Oh, they're such a great season. Who cares about the season? What are they doing in the playoffs?
You don't think a motivated, if you're Philly management, you don't think a motivated Kyle Lowry, look, I know he's older, playing in front of his hometown, would have been the people are concerned that sometimes he has these games where he struggles to shoot, but he would have played great for the Sixers. He would have played great for them in the playoffs because he's fired up. He's playing for his hometown. He still can shoot them. He does all the other things too. Passing, he drives to the lane. He takes contact. He's an incredible defensive player from the point guard spot, in my opinion. This little guy, Kyle Lowry, and I've seen him for years, taking these charges with these big guys coming at him, and he stands in there, takes a charge, draws an offensive foul. He's done that for years. You don't think Philly could have used some of that?
He'd do it all better against Trae Young. Him and Trae Young would be must-see TV. Instead, you got nonchalant Ben Simmons, who needs to be. By the way, keep in mind, I want to make this clear. Ben Simmons makes $40 million a year, and at the end of the game, you got to take him out because he's a complete and utter
train wreck.
Yeah, it's incredible to me. It's I don't even know how to compare it to anything. I mean, how do you compare this? It's like, is it comparable? I mean, in any profession in America, I just don't even know what to compare it to. It's amazing.
I think his numbers are like 2 for 4 shooting in the fourth quarter. He's taking like 4 shots in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games combined. He just cannot shoot. He knows he can't because he can't make anything. It's an incredible situation for a guy getting that much money.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Ben Simmons from the free throw line is 12 for 39.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm being too disrespectful when I say I feel I could make a percentage.
No, we talked about that. You can 100%. If you got 39 attempts, I guarantee you can make 15. Guarantee. By the way, also, Tobias Harris is shooting 10 for 33 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and is averaging 2.9 points a game in 9 fourth quarters this postseason.
These guys just disappear. They turn into ghosts in the fourth quarter, this team. That's exactly what we see the last 2 games.
He's also, in this series, been held scoreless in the fourth quarter 3 times and has scored over 4 points just twice in the fourth quarter all postseason. Great
Does
stuff.
Anybody on this team possess the clutch gene? We're going to find that out tonight. And if nobody does, they're going home. It's as simple as that.
Yep. All right, let's move on. I'm taking the Hawks +3. Next game, another closeout game. How about this? Clippers. This Clipper team has really gotten off the mat. They're the complete opposite. They've gotten off the mat and have been terrific. And there's no secret that without Mike Conley, the Jazz have struggled. They've got a faulty Donovan Mitchell who's not completely healthy, but trying to give it his all. A small ball lineup for the Clippers that's worked. Where's the other playmakers for the Jazz? It seems like if Donovan's not playing well and the threes aren't going in, they ain't going to make many shots. It's that simple. The Clippers are more talented. Things are working. And they seem to always rewrite the narrative. They don't play well in games 1 and 2 in both series. They come back out and get the job done. You look at tonight. Jazz, a 2.5-point favorite on the road in an elimination game, and they're the elimination candidate to go home against the Clippers. Are you surprised, Ian, that the Clippers are a dog here at home? 221. I'll get your first thought on the game. What do you think here?
I actually think a lot of people saying that could be over tonight. This is the one where I think I've got more faith in Utah extending to Game 7 than Philly. That's the way I feel coming into tonight. I do think there's a better game in them. Now, they haven't proven they can win in LA. That's the problem. And we know all season the Jazz were not as good on the road as they were at home, and it really wasn't even close. There was a dramatic difference between their home play and their road play. I'm just going to need – and look, Ty Lue, he's deserved some credit here. To go into Utah in that game and win it without Kawhi and make the decision a few games ago, we're going to go small lineup. It's really been a tough lineup to defend for Utah. And you're all of a sudden seeing Luke Kennard and Marcus Morris. Of course, Reggie Jackson's had a good playoffs most of the way, but especially the last few games, Marcus Morris and Luke Kennard from that three-point line have stepped up. They've given offense. And look, Paul George has shut up the critics for now. He's been terrific. I mean, got to call it like we see it. I've called this guy someone you can't rely on in the postseason in the past. There's no question, but he's pouring in over 30 points a night. His performance was splendid without Kawhi the other night. So there's a lot to like with the Clippers here. But I don't know if they're going to get all of that supporting cast offensive output again for a second straight game, because I think they had a bunch of guys just shoot incredibly well. Hard to duplicate that a second game. I'd like to know, though, if the Jazz are going to have Conley back. He's questionable. Again, it's been game to game, and it seems like the longer this series has gone on, the more I'm doubtful that he's going to play in each game. It seems like they're being very, very cautious with that. The concern for me is Mitchell, because he tweaked his ankle a few games ago in this series, and now in the last two games, he's only shooting 15 of 45 and 10 of 29 from three. So that's an issue. Donovan Mitchell's they will not win tonight, and they will not come back in this series without better numbers from Mitchell, because so much of what the Jazz are doing relies on his offense. And and if he doesn't shoot well, are you going to have to count on Bogdanovich and Ingles and Clarkson, guys like that to really carry you? Not necessarily. So Donovan Mitchell's health is supreme. I just get that sense with the kind of season he's had. Look, it's not been a great couple of games for him. I think this is a Donovan Mitchell night. I like his prop over. I think he figures it out. I think he'll feel a little bit healthier. Remember, that ankle now, it's been a few days. It's probably going to start to feel a little bit better. Maybe it will never be 100%, but he'll feel better enough where I think you'll see him shoot better. And look, he's going to be a motivated son of a gun. He knows he's going to get questioned in the offseason. Again, if Utah finds a way to cough up a 2-0 lead in this series and lose, there's going to be some questions about them too. You talk about Philly and Milwaukee. What about the questions if they lose? There's going to be some directed at Utah, as well, if they don't win this series. So there's big expectations on Mitchell. He's had a great season. I think unlike past years where sometimes he wouldn't be able to elevate in that backs against the wall spot, I think this year I trust him more to do that. So I like Mitchell's prop over tonight in this game. And if I'm leaning from a side perspective, I'm actually leaning Utah here a little bit, but I'd probably go money line instead of -1.5. I would just ignore the spread, take the money line. I'm going to need to see it from the Clippers here, because look, I keep thinking that Kennard doing what he did, Marcus Morris doing what he did the other night, kind of outliers in my opinion, and it might be difficult to duplicate that kind of output again. So I'm not counting Utah. I'm not overly ultra confident, but I'm going to go with Utah here tonight to extend to a Game 7.
It's hard to bet on Utah. It just seems like Donovan Mitchell's not all there, not all healthy. And you look at the points. There's no props listed for the Utah Jazz currently, so that's kind of interesting. They seem like a beaten team right now, but one game later, obviously maybe the Jazz can kind of figure out what they are without Kawhi Leonard and try to figure that out. I think it could lean to an under, but I'm not playing this game. I don't have
one
much
thing
feel.
too. Yeah. The game they won the other night, it was that classic situation that we see so much in the NBA. The superstars out, and in the very first game, everybody pulls up their bootstraps. Everybody plays well. The first game without the superstar, they rally the troops and they win. It happens in the regular season. It happens a lot in the playoffs. But then in that second game, without that superstar player or the best player on the team, that's when you see the performance drop off. So I'm not going to say that's for sure going to happen with the Clippers, but I've seen this so many times. The first game without the superstar, they rise up, they win. Second game without him, they fall back and they fall off a little bit and they struggle and they lose the game. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I've seen this play out like that a lot in many cases in the NBA this season, past seasons. First game without the superstar, with the best player, they win, they rise up. Second game, they fall off. So part of me thinks that we could be seeing a little bit of a bounce tonight for the Clippers as well. But Utah's got to be good enough to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's a tough game to call. There have been a lot of games like this where you have people out, you have just kind of question mark. It's a tough one. I'll be honest, I'd small lean to the Clippers just because I think Utah's just not good without Conley and Mitchell. Just it's hard for him to do everything. So I'm going to pass.
Definitely
would
feel stronger about Utah if we see Mike Conley tonight. But again, that's still a big if.
Yeah, could be a good live betting opportunity. But yeah, for me, the only bet I have tonight, I'm taking Atlanta plus the 3. If the Sixers are mentally tough and they figure it out, then salud. But I don't think they're capable of it. I just don't. And if maybe they'll prove me wrong. But I'll be honest, Ian, in 3-ish years of me talking negatively about this team, have they ever proved me right or wrong? No, it's always been they've proved me right. So. Keep in mind, 36 minutes in, Croatia, Czech Republic. The Czech Republic get a penalty. I'll tell you what, this tournament has been destroyed by these handballs. I mean, it's not knowing what a handball is, which is a handball. It's just really bad, either way. Yeah. They changed the rules.
Don't get me started on some of the soccer rules, but yeah.
Yeah, they're not
some that are dubious.
Best bet, Ian. Do you have any tonight that you like? Any thoughts?
Yeah, best bet. I mean, we do a best bet segment on all the shows we do, including this one. So I got to give one out. Utah, it would be on the money line. I'll stick my neck out there with the Jazz tonight against the LA Clippers. As far as player props go, I like Mitch. I think he will feel better. Again, I don't know this. I don't have any firsthand knowledge, but I just get that sense he's going to feel a little healthier than the other night, and he'll be certainly motivated. He knows he was awful that night. He owned it in the post game. I think he might have a bigger game, especially if he's feeling a little healthier. So Mitchell over points, Embiid over points in the first game. I don't know if Philly wins, but Embiid will get his points because that's what he does, and because there's not really any other options offensively you trust right now. For the Sixers. Simmons, he can't give you anything. Harris was a complete ghost on the floor the other night. So what are you going to – and Curry, by the way, I'm going back to the Curry well.
I've been to that well, yeah. It's a good one.
I'm going over points and over threes. Over points and over three-pointers made for Seth Curry has been a gold mine of late. I'm rolling right back with that. So Embiid over points, and I'm going Curry over points and over three-pointers. Because let's be honest, that was the offense for Philadelphia the other night. Embiid and Curry, that's about it.
It's been a gold mine for a while now. I mean, that's cash for over a month straight probably. 15.5 on a points total for Seth Curry, if you're interested. I always get them confused. By the way, just so people are understanding this, the Sixers are down to 2.5. Okay, sharp money is on Atlanta. The Sixers can't. If you're a Sixer fan and you follow gambling a little bit, you can't be too happy with where this line is because this is a stone-cold Hawk line. The whole world's on the Sixers, yet the line's dropping. That's bad news on game day because the public money is not being respected. It's being knocked down.
See, the problem with me backing Philadelphia full game, my approach is going to be, honestly, Philadelphia first quarter and half, and then look at Atlanta at halftime. That's going to be my approach in this game. But I'll tell you why I can't back Philly full game in this one. It's because – look, I trust mentally strong, experienced teams and mentally strong teams to still find the fortitude to bounce back from the kind of loss that they had in the last game. I don't think Philly's that team. I don't see a mentally strong team. And I think you have to be one if you're going to find a way to park what happened in Game 5, wipe the slate clean, and be ready to just focus solely on Game 6. You have to have some strength mentally to be able to do that. Do we know if the Sixers have that?
Yeah, no, I hear you. They don't. They never have. So, all right, let's look towards wrapping this thing up. Ian, how's everything been going otherwise? Let us know where we can find you. You got always stuff going on with the hockey. Is there hockey tonight?
Yeah, there is. Montreal, Vegas, Game 3. Montreal has outplayed Vegas for, I believe, 30 to 35 of the 40 first period minutes that have been played in the first two games of this series. bolstered by the home fans as the scene shifts to Montreal for Game 3. Series is tied 1-1. I think Montreal first period is probably a good look at a home underdog price in that game tonight. But yeah, Jeff, you can find me on Twitter at Bobano. Ian Cameron, we've got the Pub Sports radio shows 7 days a week for Major League Baseball and NBA playoffs. Ice Guys show for another few weeks as the NHL season starts to wind down. And of course, we'll be back in the fall, the Hockey Podcast Network, the Ice Guys, check that out. And getting ready for football too. Look, football, because of the fact the NHL and the NBA are going into July, there's really only going to be a few week buffer zone between the end of NHL, NBA, and the start of the NFL preseason. So football will be here before you know it, NFL and college football. So looking forward to that as well. So follow me on Twitter at Bobano. And if you want the subscription, Bobano350@gmail.com is the email.
Yeah, keep in mind, Buffalo Bills, the NFL, people are not happy. Players in the league are not happy with the newly agreed upon COVID-19 protocols. Cole Beasley calls the new protocols, quote, a joke. He also says, this is crazy. Did we vote on this? I stay in the hotel. We still have meetings. We will all be together. Vaccinated players can go out of the hotel and bring back COVID into where I am. So what does it matter if I stay in the hotel now? 100% immune with a vaccination? No. The Players Association is a joke. Call it something different. It's not for the players. Everyone gives me the 98% of people who are vaccinated don't get COVID again. The odds of me getting it in the NFL and playing for 10 years are lower than that, and I'm here. So players not happy. And this continues to be a point of contention. Look, if I'm the NFL, I think you have to do one of two things. It's a tough thing because if someone gets the virus, then it affects the team. And I think the NFL is saying we don't want that happening again. Here's the thing, and I've said this with the NBA. I'll say it with everything at this point. Why are these leagues still testing? What are we doing here? Why are we still doing this? Stop testing. Stop worrying about it. It's not going to affect these guys. Most of them are vaccinated anyway. Why are we still testing, Ian? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, I think it's a case of knowing positive or negative. But if they're vaccinated, why would they need the test? Especially for the vaccinated players, why the hell would they need to be tested at this point? We know if they're vaccinated, they shouldn't have it. They should be negative. We don't need to test them. Okay, if you haven't been vaccinated yet, could I see the reason for putting you through a COVID-19 test? Yes, but for vaccinated players, that's the only thing I can think of, that they would be interested in testing players that they know for sure haven't been fully vaccinated.
Or maybe
yet.
Just have a rule that if you're over the age of 50 and on a coaching staff, you have to have the vaccine. Because you're the one most at risk for it, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
The variants are really hurting the younger kids. The stronger, more potent variants, they say, are just as equally dangerous to the younger generation as the older ones, or so I've heard. But
yeah, it's a slippery slope, man. But I think you have to continue to extend. Look, I still don't understand why you wouldn't get the vaccine personally. I don't get that, but. I guess sadly
I got my first shot. I didn't have any after effects. I didn't get sick or anything like that. I was fine. So, it is what it is. I'm getting it. And if something happens to me, so be it. But hey, I got to get it. I'm a Hamilton Ticat season ticket holder. There is going to be a CFL season starting in August. And if I want to be attending the games, I need to show them a proof of vaccination slip that I've gotten both vaccines. That's the only way they're letting you into the games. So I got to get it. If I want to attend my football team and see their games live, I've got to get this vaccine. So at the end of the day, it's fine with me getting it.
And I think what it's led to when you do get it is you have a little bit of peace of mind. Look, no one wants to get sick, man. No one wants to lose your sense of smell or whatever. And I think it's an American thing to do. All these people, I'm a patriot. Well, but I'm not going to get the vaccine, and I don't care about any other patriots. It's okay, well then, are you really a patriot then? It's
funny. I don't know what getting a vaccine has to do with allegiance to your country, but yeah.
But it's always funny because the people that are I'm a patriot are always the ones that do stuff that's not real patriotic. It's weird. Yeah. I don't know, but that's another question. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So yeah, NFL players not too happy. Certain ones not too happy. Okay, Ian, good stuff as always. At Bobano, find him on Twitter. Good stuff from Ian, always very detailed. You can find me on Twitter at Jeff Nadu. As always, make sure you also Go check out my podcast, The Sit Down, if you enjoy Mafia history, Mafia culture, Mafia news, all sorts of cool stuff with the Mafia. We talked about Al Capone this week, a great and detailed episode as to why Al Capone is not what I think the media and lore and that kind of stuff lead him to be. He was powerful. He was someone that owned a lot of things, but he was a gangster. He was not a mobster. And he died from something that if he'd have just taken care of, he might have lived longer. He didn't die from a bullet or go to prison. He died because his own, not caring about his body. One other thing, Ian, before we go. Did you hear about this guy that had to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House? Did you hear about that?
No.
So listen to this. So a guy that, I guess he's some kind of, I don't know, he does something with fantasy football. I don't know. But he was in a fantasy football league, and they were in a group where the person that finished last had to go to a random Mississippi Waffle House, and they had to sit in the Waffle House for 24 hours straight. Every waffle that person ate would shave off the 24 hours. So if they ate 24 waffles, they could leave. But if they didn't, they would have to sit there for 24 hours. What a wild bet, right?
Yeah, that is. I'll pass on doing a bet like that anytime soon. I'll say that.
Yeah. Some people said, "Wow, that doesn't seem like a bad thing to have to do." But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't eat waffles. I would never eat at Waffle House, so I wouldn't enjoy that. I would have to just sit there for 24 hours. That wouldn't be good. All right, we're out of here. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games tonight. For me, only bet Hawks +3. Ian, good stuff. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Jeff.
As always, thanks for watching. We're here tomorrow and every day breaking down the NBA card to the NBA Finals. I'm the big man. He's Ian Cameron.